post-Australia beer gut to get him.
Yeah, me too. God, don't. And I saw my mum and she was like, "You've put weight on." And I was like, where? She was like, "Here."
Your mum can't say that.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Oh, well, I don't mind it there." And she went, "And on your face." I was like, "You're such a..."
Would she do that?
She's so honest.
Hello and welcome to week 3 of the Hockey Shed, brought to you by Galvanised Hockey. Thank you so much if you've been watching, and hoping you're enjoying the content. Do feel free, as we've said before, to give us your feedback. We'd love to hear what you think. And we hope you're also enjoying Monday Night Hockey. If you haven't seen this week's edition, be sure to visit Galvanised Hockey's social media feeds on Facebook and Twitter and catch up with all the goings on from the men's and women's Premier Leagues. Now, alongside me today on the sofa is someone who's played for England, someone who's played for Great Britain. She's recently got back from playing over in Australia, and she's currently knocking nets off the goal frames for Holcombe. Please welcome Steph Elliott. Steph, welcome to the shed.
Thank you for having me. It's a lovely shed.
It is a great shed. We're very proud of it.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming along.
All right.
I think we'll start by sort of introducing you for people who don't know who Steph Elliott is. If you could tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into hockey.
Oh God, a long time ago. I was about 8 years old, back up in Middlesbrough. My mum took me for a hockey session with Rosebery Hockey Club, and then sort of just loved it ever since. And Rosebery doesn't exist anymore now, but back in the day it was a brilliant club. And then I went on, played for them sort of up until university, then played for Durham Uni for 4 years, and then moved down south and joined Holcombe.
Lovely.
So yeah.
And how long have you been at Holcombe for? 4th
year now.
Brilliant.
Season.
So you've just come back from Australia.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that. Who did you play for? What was the experience like?
Overall it was amazing, and I would in general recommend people to go and play abroad, because it is just such a different experience, especially over the other side of the world. The hockey in general is the complete opposite to English hockey. It was literally just attack, attack, attack and attack, and then go forward more, which was quite difficult for me to start with, because obviously with English hockey you're transferring a lot and you're being very patient, whereas it's pretty much gun-ho out in Oz and in New Zealand as well. But it was a lot more exciting, and the score lines were obviously a lot higher. But yeah, it was brilliant. And I played for Reds out there, so they're called Older Quinions. Lovely, lovely group of girls. Really enjoyed it as a whole, but we just didn't quite have the quality we were looking for, and we finished 9th out of 10, so that wasn't great. But overall, as an experience and as a place, it was brilliant. Yeah.
And besides the attacking, because I found that as well. I played out there myself, and you know was quite sort of taken aback when they played a 5 up front, like like old school that you played in the 90s.
Like, is this the wrong way around?
But I also found it really physical. Did you find it was because I remember kind of getting bashed about quite a bit in my first game out there, and sort of stopping and thinking, hang on, why is the umpire not blowing that up? Did you find a similar thing, that it was a bit more aggressive than
Definitely.
The UK?
But I quite like that. I quite like a physical game and things, but I mean, I found myself frequently getting sent off still in Australia, which was a bit weird, because it was definitely both ways, but I seem to just get the brunt of it, and that happens in England quite a bit as well. But yeah, it was definitely a lot more physical, a lot rougher game, I think. I had a few more bruises than I would in this country.
But Holcombe, obviously you've been there, you know, for 4 seasons now, and you first got into the Premier League in 2014. Yeah,
we were in the league below for the first season, and then got promoted straight away, that was the target. So that was really good.
And I think I've seen an old video of you being interviewed back in 2014.
Steph Elliott, Holcombe Hockey Club, number 16, midfield. We've lost a few players, but gained a few. But yeah, we just want to try and be really competitive this time, because obviously we've just come up from the league below. But yeah, got a good feeling about it.
Obviously, there's been quite a bit of time passed in that time, and players have come and players have gone.
Yep.
Where are Holcombe's ambitions now?
Because obviously I've missed being in Australia, I missed the pre-season and all the sort of start of the season. We haven't really had a proper chat about it, but you know, I've spoke to Lee, who's the new head coach, and a few of the other sort of leadership group members, and we're looking to get top 4 again. definitely. And I think with the team that we've got this year, if we play to our potential, I don't see how there's anyone that can sort of stop us achieving that. And I think, you know, if you're going to go for it, you've got to really back yourselves and believe in it. So yeah, that's what we're aiming for, hopefully. And we've got Euros this year, so we need to be ready for that as well.
Excellent. You've talked about club hockey here in the UK. We've talked about club hockey in Australia. You have played for England and you have played for Great Britain. How does that experience rate again compared to those other two experiences? What's the intensity like? I mean, do things just suddenly crank up a huge amount when you're playing at that level?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's quite visible when you go from that level and back into club. But what I really love is when you get all of the GB in England girls and the boys playing in the club system, you can see the level of club raises so much. And it was the same out in when I went to New Zealand. I went out last year for the NHL, and it was obviously the Olympic year, so none of the Kiwi, the New Zealand players played in the league.
Yeah.
And I went out again this year, and all of them were playing, and the standard was just tenfold, so much better, so much more competitive. And that's the same in England. And you know, we want to try and keep as many players in the English league system as possible to, you know, sort of bridge that gap between league hockey and international level. Make it as competitive as possible, I guess.
Let's talk about other career highlights. You're here on the shed sofa. You've already notched up an
On new high.
Exactly. You've already notched up an Investec goal of the week. So
I don't know how I've managed that.
You're kind of at the zenith as it is already. But other than that, what would you say were your sort of career highlights to date?
Well, when I first got my debut for GB, I scored, which never happens really apart from recently. So that was amazing, and that was in Germany in an inside outdoor pitch, which was really really cool. And recently in Australia, I managed to win the second best player in the Premier League after Madonna Blythe, which is
That's an
pretty
achievement.
cool.
She's a bit of a legend.
Yeah,
so.
she is a legend. She's a bit scary to play against, but you can see why she won it. And I think in general, just in terms of like club hockey, getting promoted to Prem and reaching playoffs with, you know, a really, really great group of girls that every week I'm excited to play hockey with them. I think that in itself is just a massive achievement, because that's what we set out to do, and we've managed to sort of hit our targets every time. So yeah, it's cool.
Brilliant. And you're the first woman to come into the hockey shed.
Lucky me.
Hopefully the first of many to make an appearance here. And I think in honour of that, I thought we'd have a look at, you know, women in sport in general, because there's some news this week that the Norway men's football team have taken a pay cut, so they've got equal pay with the Norwegian women's football team
So
to get some equality. What is hockey doing well in terms of balancing out any discrepancies like that? Are we already doing well? What can be improved at? What are your thoughts on how we're getting on there?
I find this quite difficult, because obviously when I watch women's hockey and when I watch men's hockey, obviously men's hockey is just so much quicker. You know, there's more exciting goals, that sort of stuff. A lot of the time, like, don't get me wrong, I mean, there are some exciting girls' goals recently that I saw, but
Off your stick.
But in general, I do think there is the girls' hockey is getting better, and I think there does need to be a little bit more balance in terms, like, even in terms of like the timings that you play. So I always think, you know, say we get a 4 o'clock slot, it's always the men that get the 6 o'clock slot, and it just sort of makes me feel like we're like the warm-up game for the men. And I just think it would be nice now and again if it was the other way around, you know, and you would, that way you'd be able to get more supporters there for the women's games and that sort of stuff. But I do think in general, hockey is a lot more balanced than other sports. But I mean, even things like this are brilliant to sort of talk about the men and talk about the women on sort of an equal stature. And
presumably, you know, the success that the GB ladies had in Rio
absolutely
will only serve to inspire more young girls, hopefully, to pick up sticks. I mean, that was the ethos of the ladies out there.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that will, you know, get more young girls playing the game. And obviously the media attention that they garnered is something that will only have a positive effect on sort of securing, you know, I mean, these are brilliant, brilliant athletes at the absolute peak of their game, and you know, they should be revered in that respect. So
definitely.
I think they've done a fantastic job in that.
They have, yeah.
Moving on, we're going to have a quick look at the results from this weekend's matches, starting with the Women's Premier League. Steph, what are your thoughts on the results from this weekend?
I'm really surprised with the sort of University of Birmingham Clifton game. Obviously, we played University of Birmingham last week and we beat them 3-1. And I don't know, maybe they just hadn't gelled as much, but they lack a lot of experience. And I mean, they have a few people like Lily Owsley who can, you know, pull an amazing goal from the baseline out the bag. But yeah, I thought 4-1 was a big, big score against Clifton, especially because Clifton are, you know, a solid Prem team normally. But yeah, I thought that was quite a high-scoring game.
I think it's because Dan Fox said that they weren't very experienced last week, and they thought, you know what, we're going to show you how experienced we are.
Prove him wrong.
You've done it as well now. Yeah. They're going to be like super fired up for next week.
Yeah, you're welcome, Birmingham Uni.
What about Holcombe? Not an ideal result for yourselves there.
No, it wasn't. And actually, our goalie Rose Thomas got man of the match. Outstanding. Saved another penalty stroke. So yeah, she pretty much saved us there. But I didn't think that we played that well. But I like all credit to Buckingham. I think this is one of the strongest Buckingham teams I've seen. And obviously they sort of, you know, yo-yo between the Prem and the league below. And actually, I think this year they look pretty solid. Yeah.
Bowden were at home to East Grinstead and went down 2-0.
That's good for EG, because I always think Bowden at home is a really, really tough game. I don't know what it is, just something about Northern hockey and grit and determination, and it's really difficult to play against, so that's a good result for them.
And Surbiton continue their good form with a 1-0 over at Leicester. So Surbiton again, we keep saying it every week that it's early days, but Surbiton are sort of kind of setting out their stall quite early now and saying, come on.
Yeah, Surbiton are just, I mean, when all their players are on form and the depth that they've got, I mean, it's just not fair really on anyone else, is it?
And looking ahead to next week's fixtures, anything in there that catches your eye? Obviously, you've spoken about Bowden just now, and you're at home hosting them.
Yeah. I mean, I hope we win because it's not at Bowden, so it's fine. But I still think it'll be a tough game. Again, they've got some really good players still. And
if University of Birmingham are gonna pull
the
hat,
giving them a kick up
pull the hat of the bag, they're playing Surbiton.
That should be quite a good game.
That has the potential to be quite fiery now that you've given them some impetus there. And in the other fixtures, East Grinstead are home to Slough, Canterbury are hosting Clifton, and Leicester are hosting Buckingham.
I think it should be quite interesting this year in terms of, I think a lot of the teams last season that you would expect to be sort of dropping points, I think are really pushing. So I think the league could potentially be a little bit closer this year all through this.
And if we have a quick look at the men's results from the weekend, Holcombe men at home to Sevenoaks, won that one 3-2.
Yeah, that was, obviously because Sevenoaks have just come up from the league below, and obviously they've let in quite a few goals against the other teams in the past 2 weeks. That was a little bit too close for comfort for me.
Some other results there. Beeston beat Reading 3-1. Canterbury lost 1-4. And Surbiton 2-1 at Hampstead and Westminster, which was obviously quite a tight game there.
Yeah,
Surbiton retain top of the league spot in the men's as well with 9 points. What are your thoughts on how that table's shaping up?
I saw the Beeston Reading game online, obviously supporting Tommy and everything else. Sat in a car park because I obviously couldn't drive while I was on my phone, you know, safety. Yeah, I really think Reading are missing when Liam Sanford doesn't play. You can see it's such a difference. He's such a good player at the back there and just controls things. And he's out at the moment with an injury, so yeah, definitely. And they were missing Nick Parks, who is England under-21s, and he is a brilliant player. But you know, Beeston got 2 strokes, I think it was, and scored one of them. And just some amazing drag flicks as well. So that, yeah, it was quite a good game to watch. And then the Surbiton game, that was, I think they scored a stroke, didn't they, in the last few minutes because of a silly silly tackle, push, rugby tackle sort of thing. But yeah, I thought it was a good, very, very good game.
Well, I think before we sign off, we've had a trend the last couple of weeks to have a couple of sort of amusing anecdotes from our guests. Unfortunately, they've been at George Pinner's expense and involved underpants. I'm fairly sure we won't be in his good books if we maintain that theme. So I was hoping, given the vast hockey experience that you've had, you've probably got a teammate anecdote you can share with us that doesn't involve George Pinner or underpants or anything contentious like that.
I can't say it on camera. I can't say any of them on camera.
Fair enough. No reflection of the circles you move in.
Just know that it involves Leah Wilkinson.
Okay.
Yeah.
She'll be getting grilled at the weekend then.
Yeah, that's fine.
Brilliant. Steph, it's been a pleasure to have you here on the Sofa Day.
Me.
Thanks so much for that. Thanks so much for watching again. Do be sure to check out Galvanised Hockey's media feeds on Facebook and Twitter. You can follow Steph on Twitter too, I think. What's your Twitter account?
Steph Elliott 90.
That's at the bottom of your screen now, so do give her a follow and you can see how she's getting on for the rest of the league. Thanks once again for watching, and we'll catch you next week on The Hockey Shed.